for those three shows. Yeah.
It's kind of funny because in talking to John last night, he kept referring to the comment of like, it's a joke. He kept using that same word. He was like, it's a joke with the viewer. And it's funny. Like, I hope people got that out of it. Like, I hope people were able to kind of like experience it long enough and like be open enough to the narrative, because in talking to John last night again, he was all about like, you've got this whole narrative story and this whole kind of process that you see the balloons, you're invited in, it's celebratory, then you keep going and you realize it has kind of a dark side, and it kind of flips around and it's like a joke on the viewer, but then if you keep going with it, it becomes like this conversation. And it was interesting how he kept kind of using, because I wouldn't, just at first glance, I wouldn't have thought joke, you know, but it is, and it's kind of like you keep using that word too, so it's interesting that you guys both see it that way.
Yeah, and I think being able to use the tool of absurdity to be able to allow the viewer just a longer pause, because really you're just trying to get the viewer for a little bit longer because you're just wanting to have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
And so like absurdity is a great tool to be able to have some of the more difficult conversations.
Yeah. Is that something that a line of inquiry that you're going to pursue in your new space? Or is that just kind of one of, I imagine you probably have a lot of interests.
I think so. I mean, that'll be one, it's really, because it's a collaboration between Travis Nicolai and I, it'll be interesting to see the direction that the project takes. Because it won't just be like my taste. It'll be these other conversations that he sees as like vital in sort of a community-based space.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about that. There's a few things that I've noticed just from having the gallery downtown, and that was like either I'm going to love a show, I'm going to like be kind of indifferent to a show, or I'm really not going to enjoy it at all. And like no matter what, like that 7 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever the duration of the show is, like those emotions are going to happen. And those are the ones that I can't wait for.
Yeah.
I can't wait to find the thing that really gets me where I'm like, oh man, if I can just have that for one more week. Or it's like, oh, get this out of my house.
Yeah.
Like, oh, get it out, because that's also a really good response too. It's like, oh, get it out of here. Like I want that response too.
Yeah.
Especially when it's where art ends up functioning like interior design when we're looking at it as it functions as a house. And so that's exciting, I think.
And looking at your space back here, the all white, like you were saying, you could put anything on against this wall, and it sort of assumes this kind of epic, you know, oh, look at this, let's observe it.
Yeah, totally. Exactly.
Whatever it may be, and there's a jar of like thumbtacks in there. It's like you could put that on a stool, and it would be like, oh,
totally.
what is this comment on the human condition? Like,
oh my gosh,
having that in your house, right? It's like any you know, this pen, like your dinner plate, and like anything can be kind of commented on.
And what I think I'm realizing, and one reason why I want a gallery in my house, I mean, art is a really high priority, crazy high. Like I don't have kids, I don't want kids. I don't have like I'm probably not going to get married. Even if it is the right guy, that probably won't happen. What probably I will always have in my life is art. I mean, art is really, really important. So, like, I'm willing to make, like, my own little personal sacrifices, getting rid of my own personal space so I can have more art-devoted space, just to see, like, how sort of, I don't know, my understanding of how I see community, how I see my neighbors, because the art is just simply allowing me have a lens for a little bit longer. And so that's what I'm kind of looking forward to on this kind of a project.
Yeah. Well, it's the same sorts of sacrifices that like a parent would make, or you know, a partner would make.